as we think that now, out of all the times, connections are the most important thing. Let me take the opportunity to first introduce Dr. Muhammad Mujtaba Asad, Head of Education Technologies and TV/ET Research at Sakhar IBA University. Dr. Muhammad Mujtaba has national and international experience in the domain of educational technologies, innovative pedagogies, work and product-based education in TV/ET. He has more than 70 research articles published internationally with his name, and also 2 books related to observational skills of competent educators in the 21st century under the CS and Taylor and France Publishing House, USA. Our other esteemed guest is Ms. Ramla Hafiz Poonawala, the coordinator for science and maths at Hugs Academy. Ms. Ramla Poonawala is a lifelong learner and researcher in the field of science and mathematical education. Our third esteemed guest is Ms. Hina Kutub, the head of academics at the Citizens Public School. In her 17 years of experience, she has studied how to teach students from toddlers to the teenagers and building unique strategies to facilitating learning. Now I request my honorable guests to introduce themselves. Let's start with Dr. Mujtaba.
Thank you very much, Madam Nazia and DOE SZABIST for arranging wonderful session. And I really appreciate the efforts of Dr. Najmul Nisa because it's a wonderful blend of schools, colleges, and higher education institutions to share their practices. So whatever you have introduced myself, I'm working at Sakhar IBA University as assistant professor, as also serving as a lead and head researcher on educational technology and TVET research. So we are producing such tools, gadgets, approaches, strategies that how we can facilitate and enhance our teaching and learning process with the integration of technology, which is also a need of 21st century education. And currently, due to this pandemic situation, this is also now a need for global, you can say that the global need. It's all of us now transferring to online teaching and learning. So our main focus and the main agenda of our research is to produce and those research work, those potential, you can say that the tools, technological aspects or such prototypes which can be integrated in virtual classrooms, which can be helpful for the students to get the better knowledge and understanding in terms of experiential learning, in terms of the teaching and learning in different subjects, even science, engineering, mathematics, and whatever which is the need of this situation, specifically for the COVID-19. Now, as we all know that this is the complete transition and the transfer of and shift of the physical classroom towards the virtual classroom. And now we also need some specific kind of interactive frameworks, strategies, which can facilitate our teaching and learning process. So actually, we are also working on that. All of us, all educationists, pedagogues, we are working to come up with the new ideas, innovation in pedagogies, andragogies, so we can facilitate our teaching and learning process in our context of Pakistan. Either it's a rural context, either it's a urban context. So that's what we are also doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mujtaba. I now request Ms. Hina Kutub to please continue and share her experience and give her introduction.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum ji. I hope you all are in a good health. First of all, I would like to thank my management who actually believe in me, and they have actually supported me towards my vision. And after that, of course, none other than my institute, because I'm an MS ELM student from SZABIST. And SZABIST is actually a platform which provide me with first-hand knowledge to actually meet the challenges of today, where I would appreciate Dr. Najam, our HOD. Her efforts cannot be neglected, and her efforts are more than appreciable for every single student, from every single student, because before this actually pandemic comes in, we were actually knowing about the flipped classrooms, we were knowing about how to work online, and our teachers, our resources, they have already, we have worked over, we have a great platform for the research. I have published international research in my international journals as well. I've attended international conferences, and all that's because of SZABIST, and of course because of the support of Dr. Najam and Sadia Durrani. I would like to mention her as well here. Secondly, of course, in my 18 years of experience, I am actually dealing with the HR thing psychology, and from ECE till metric system, because the school where I'm belonging to belongs to the metric system. And we have from since 18 years, I am into this field where I'm learning everything. Every day I'm learning something new to meet the challenges and the need of each individual student. And because of this pandemic, as we are come up on the online education system, the virtual learning and the remote learning, and the teachers are also as a frontliners working day and night just to provide education so that our nation should not be left behind. And we are working very much hard. We have just, as Dr. Mushtabai just said, that we have formulated different strategies. We have a framework, and everybody is targeting to the specific students and their needs. I think with the diversity in the best possible way they can. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Hena. And I now request our esteemed guest, Ms.
I would like to add up here that SZABIST is actually going along, and every single teacher who is actually getting professional development from SZABIST, I believe is a jewel, is a stone, and they are doing remarkable in their respective fields. So I would like to appreciate SZABIST for being such a nice institute and have providing us a great platform to learn as good and better as to meet the challenges. So that is what I would like to say here.
Thank, thank you very much, Hena. G. Ramla, please introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Najam and SZABIST, for providing me an opportunity to share my thoughts and giving me the confidence to work. I have done my master's in Education Leadership of Management from SZABIST, but currently I am working in Huff Academy as a science and math coordinator. My role involves working with teachers from grade 4 to O levels. So I've been working with junior kids as well as senior level grades. So the approach that we have been working on is mostly on inquiry-based teaching. And thank you very much to SZABIST and Dr. Najam for giving me an opportunity to research more related to those practices. I have been working in a school environment, but working in SZABIST really helped me to become more able in conducting research and using those practices in my teaching. This pandemic has really helped, has given us a difficult time in terms of coping up with the strategies, but with the pedagogy that we learned from SZABIST really helped us overcome those challenges. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ramla. I have some statistics to share, and from there we'll move forward. So as for January 2020, Pakistan had 75% mobile phone connections, and 35% of the Pakistani population are internet users. Only 17% are on the social media. With these statistics, I would say we were not at all prepared for this sort of teaching and learning, and we were completely caught off guard. The first trimester of 2020 actually forced us to plunge into the sea of online teaching and learning, and we were entirely unprepared. I want people to shed some light on the challenges faced by the teachers as well as by the schools. How did people, the teachers, and the administration, how did you wade through these challenges, through these deep waters, somewhere? Also, think you people have reached somewhere? Have we reached somewhere as educationists? And what is the way forward? I pose this question to Dr. Mushtafa first. Ji, Dr.
Thank you very much, Madam Nazia, for this question. Because actually, if we talk about a global perspective, like all the teachers, academicians, institutional leaders, head teachers, principals, everyone is currently focusing for Before they were focusing for during the pandemic, and now they are focusing for post-pandemic situation. That how, because this COVID-19 situation and the education during this COVID-19 situation, because we have to accept this, that we have to live with this for some time, and we hope that inshallah after some time that we will have some other things that can help us to overcome all those concerns related to COVID-19, inshallah. But this is the reality that we don't know how long, but we have to accept this, that we have to live with this for some time. So actually the challenges, because as a higher education institution representative and I'm working in a government sector university, so the challenges are different. Like if we talk about school, colleges and universities, either the schools are in the urban locality or the rural locality, so the challenges are varied. Like globally, for example, the students, they are in the European countries or the modern countries, like for example developed nations, so those may be not focusing for those challenges which our Asians, Pakistanis or underdeveloping countries are focusing for. So the main issue and challenge that in the start what higher education institutions has faced as like other institutions or other sectors, that because it's a complete shift in a very short time, we have to focus and we have to shift to one mode of delivery to another mode. Like everything was re-engineered, everything was revisited, like our curriculum, our pedagogical approaches, delivery methods, those teachers and the experts educationists and technologists, they all sit together and come up with the strategies that how we can cope up with this, with the integration of technology. Because previously it was existed, like education technology was existed, but there was just a small ratio or the small population of pedagogues they were focusing for it, because face to face was, as we all know, that is more convenient in our context as well. So the first challenge was that the acceptance and adaptability of that this reality that we have to teach with now technology. Like those teachers, they are from the background of sciences like computer science. They are much familiar with the gadgets, that how the approach will work, that they will use in a particular platform and teach the students. But for those teachers, like for example, Urdu teacher, social sciences subject teachers, they were not that much familiar with the technology. They have the competencies and everything, but in the terms of technical competencies, there was a lack. So the first challenge was what I have, because I'm this is my area of expertise as well, and mostly the teachers from the school, colleges, and even universities, they discuss with me these issues. That this is the one of the challenge, that the digital competency issue, because how they will use it, how it will work. Because teaching and learning process, as we all know, that it's a not a one-day process. Like we also need a feedback from the students. We have to confirm this, that the teaching and learning is successful, that when we get the loop of a feedback from the students, so we can ensure the teaching and learning as a process. So the first thing, the digital competency was one of the issue and challenge that in the start most of the teachers has reported. The another challenge was the framework of online learning and teaching in the institutions, because previously most of the content was delivered through face-to-face communication or face-to-face delivery, and there was some part of asynchronous communication where the teachers and students were linked or have connection through emails, WhatsApps, and we also had LMS in the higher education institutions, also at our institute. So the major issue was that the framework, the lack of a framework which can integrate the assessment practices like what we have in our TPAC model, that the technology, pedagogy, and content knowledge. So we also need to integrate all the aspects which were focusing for our content knowledge and the technological needs. Because if we talk about schools in Karachi, Islamabad, and Lahore, so there will be a difference in the access issues, and also the challenges which the rural students were facing. Like the opportunities are more in the bigger cities. So if we talk about the rural areas or the areas, remote areas, where the student cannot even access to internet, even they have everything they can afford, but if there is no 3G and 4G signals, then how they can connect? So that was one of the challenge which the teachers also have to realize. So they have to come out with such framework which can address each and everything, because as we know that these challenges are as a pedagogue, as a teacher, as an educator, we have to come up with such strategies with the help of our management, competent authorities, that how we can cope up with those. So the framework was one of the issue, and then competencies of the teacher was one of the issue, and another thing was the acceptability and adaptability among the students. Because in the start, as we all know, that the students have some kind of complaint against it. They said that they will not, because their acceptance was not there, because this was not a new, that was a new thing for them, because they were not used to with that kind of teaching and learning approach previously. But now, if we compare 3 and 4 months before, and if we assess our current situation, so I think that things are much more settled and better, because the acceptability now came. Those teachers, they were not that much digitally competent. The content was not digitally aligned based on the agendas, objectives, and everything which was in the pedagogy, in the curriculum we have to follow. So now they have integrated those competencies in this, and they come up with the skills, and they know that how to use the online platforms. Another thing, that the institution come up with the frameworks, like those, like we have some universities like virtual universities, open universities, so they have the distance learning and online learning approach. But these were the challenges in the start in the higher education sector.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mustafa. Ms. Ramla, could you please share your views on the same topic?
Yeah, I was definitely second to Dr. Mustafa. The challenges and problems that we faced were quite similar, but of course the scope was different because we deal with key stage 1 to grade 11 students. So the problems were, I think, multiplied when it comes to the younger children because of guidance they require, and they need adult supervision as well in terms of remote learning. I would say that the first and foremost challenge is when the school is online, the digital device grows greater. The reality is that online learning will be easier for those with access to resources. Those who have limited or no internet connection or are sharing devices have power outage struggles, they all are struggling. So the organization where I work is usually belongs to an upper middle socioeconomic background, but still not all have access to digital technology. For example, if it's a family of four, when it comes to remote learning, then the parents who are working, they need their own gadget. The students, the kids who have like three, if a mother has three kids, then they need to provide a separate device for remote learning. So these were the challenges that we face in terms of access to technology. Another challenge that we faced were the digital competency. Not all teachers are tech savvy. Some, as Dr. Mustafa said, that Urdu teachers and social science teachers who are not very digitally equipped, they needed special training. So that was quite taxing for the school and also taxing for the teachers to teach them. So most of the teachers required crash courses in terms of working at a computer all day, creating digital documents, working on the LMS, communicating via email, file management. The list is endless. The learning curve in the past 4 months has been extremely steep, and it is extremely stressful for them, for the teachers to learn and then reteach. Another problem that we faced was the personal management. Since keeping personal life and school separate has always been a struggle for working moms and for moms, especially when they have young kids. It's more difficult when now they are working at the same place. So teachers have to manage their kids, family, elderly persons. Due to the lockdown, most of the teachers had zero or no domestic help. With all this, they were required to plan and conduct online lessons. The other challenge that we faced was the efficient means of communication. Before COVID-19, we used to use a messaging app to share homework, letters, and documents. This was used for like a one-way communication. Suddenly, after the school got shut, we had to quickly switch to some efficient mode of communication through which we can manage real-time communication between all the stakeholders that included the admin, the teachers, parents, and students. Creating an ecosystem where all stakeholders in the educational process would seamlessly interact was a struggle. We hardly got any time to think, and we had to figure out how to use these digital resources and apps to continue teaching and learning. So, with most of the challenges that we faced, another challenge that we faced were the social emotional aspect, because kids are in isolation, parents are going through tough times, financial problems. So these were the problems that we had to deal with, and we had to devise some strategies to cope with it. Again, the classroom teaching is different because the curriculum is designed according to the classroom teaching. So we had to make decisions to revise our curriculum. It was not possible for us to expect the same learning outcome as designed for physical teaching. We needed to be mindful before setting expectations and prioritize what is more productive and beneficial for students, what we could realistically achieve in the remote setting without adding additional stress to the learners. Curriculum revision required major shifts in assessment and timetabling. We had to let go of all extracurricular activities that included end of year performance, events, after school clubs, and physical activities. When you look at the remote learning, distractions are a reality of remote work, and they become even more of an issue when it comes to remote teaching. It is extremely hard to keep students motivated and engaged in front of the screen. In the classroom, the instructor can monitor the student and adjust his or her space to accommodate anyone who needs extra time. In a virtual classroom, it is more difficult. Learners may stay silent or put in a briefing, so it's hard to get the feedback. And it's also demotivating for the teachers because the teacher is putting in so much time and hard work, but in the end, sometimes the results are not as fruitful as we expect. Technical issues are everywhere, in the classroom environment. Uh, if you see, if there are any technical issues, the teacher is there to support and help them. In the remote training, you are more vulnerable from unstable network connections, audio visual problems, bugs, uh, access, and also sometimes you don't know how to use that particular app. So those are the technical glitches that we have to face. And checking the assignments, because we have moved completely on digital assessment. So assessing them digitally, giving them feedback, all required a lot of training.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
so those were the common list of problems that we faced.
Thank you, Ramla. Posing the same question to Henna. So, Henna, we've now had a very clear understanding of what the challenges were. I would like you to instead talk more about how did you overcome them and what way for where do you think you stand now? Where do you think all of us stand now as educators? You have to unmute your mic first, Henna. Could you unmute your mic
Sorry,
first?
this is actually the problem with the technology. Like in the
Absolutely.
classroom, you can speak on, but you do not have to unmute your mic. Anyways, but thank you so very much. As most of the topic of regarding to the university level, from the university level till the higher education segment, my both friends have already been spoken up on the challenges they are facing. So I believe to make it concise, as we are short of time, I just like to add a few of the things here that. I believe a problem is a chance who give you the best to do. And of course, when a problem arises, your capabilities increases. And actually, you know who and what's your worth and your organization worth is. Being into the metric system, I believe that my problems are related with the 70% of the population of the metric system schools, and the children who are coming, the students who are coming in the matriculation school systems, they are mostly from the average class or below average class, and they are from the remote areas as well. So the major issue which we faced in the matriculation system, and as Ramla said that it was the difficulties in the kindergarten or in the primary levels are not much. But believe me, the major dropout in the matriculation system because of these online classes is in the kindergarten classes, because the parents they think that how my children gonna study sitting in front of the computer. how the teacher will actually teach my child to write, to read, to learn. And this was a great big challenge to actually address from the kindergarten level till the primary level, where we actually do not want that these children should stay back home and doing nothing. So we have actually formulated a framework. First of all, being the academic head, I had a survey from different schools, as well as I had a survey from in my own. We have going three campuses with more than around 2,000 students. So we just have a survey for it. It was very challenging to know about the devices, how much availability of devices are there. And hardly we find it out that people are equipped with the devices and with the Android phones as well. So, in this manner, first of all, we have decided to go along with every single medium we can adopt to address the need of every single child, so that none of the child of the nation and of my school or organization should remain behind, and the education should be there. So first of all, we have just made a policy that whatever the government has been said that there should be 20% discount given to every single child, we have actually provided that. The school organization, they did it. And then secondly, there was a thing that we have said that none of the child will remain behind. We will be giving a maximum relaxation to the parents, so that the children, they continue with their education. We don't know how long this pandemic will go on, and we are not going to burden the parents. And thirdly, we have discussed that we will address the most least expensive and easily use and friendly application. So we find it out that WhatsApp was the most friendly application to connect with the parents. Then we come up along and we had just lectures, as Dr. Mustafa said, that it's very hard for the Urdu teachers and for the other teachers to go along with the technology. So we have that we have the video lectures. Then we have adopted the Facebook closed groups for the secondary levels, because the teachers themselves were not willing to get their videos and the stuff to get viral on, because the security in the online classes are not much. Then we have the sessions for the parents online also. We teach them step by step, so that the children, they can upgrade it themselves. And right now, Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Almighty and my team, and with the support of my management, and of course with the learning which SZABIST has taught me, we are meeting the challenges, because I am the person who is actually training my teachers, and that I have learned from SZABIST. And then my teachers, they are doing it. Right now we are working so hard that we are meeting the target from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. in the night, because we have the children who have only one Android phone in the home, and they are from the different grade levels. So we have just plotted our campuses and the timings in a similar way. And if there is no electricity, our teachers are sending them email with the attachments. Our teachers are sending the Facebook, the lectures on the Facebook, so that none of the child missed wherever they are. So I believe that we are using the virtual or the remote learning in the best possible way we can, because I believe for a better future can decrease the pain of today. So that's what I want to add here. Let's go further. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Dr. Mujtaba, would you share at the level of university where you are now? So that's a different perspective from schools, but we would, as a university, SZABIST, and the viewers and audience would also like to know that where do you think we are right now? What coping strategies you talked about, the challenges that we faced, and the things that you're planning to do and all. So the immediate coping strategies that you put in effect right from the very beginning, that is, I'm talking of March beginning, March mid, and then also what measures were taken to improve and add value to the cause. What areas still remain unaddressed?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Actually, if I talk about our practices, that what we have practiced in our institution, that we give a very quick action to that particular issue, and we address it very effectively. And in a very short time, we got a very good result with the help of our all technical support from the institution. So, as I told you in the start, because while listening to Hina and Ms. Ramla, that I'm very happy that they are working on the capacity building of their staff and their faculty. So, exactly the same thing, that the strategy which our department and our institution took, that to develop the competency among the staff, because they are the one who will because there is a difference between teaching adult learners and teenagers, like what the schools and colleges are doing and what the higher education institutions are doing. Because if we can compare both of them, then the like schools and colleges are a bit challenging in terms of, because you have to train the parents as well. You have to work on the parents' capacities and their competencies as well. So the first thing, the action we took, that we arranged such session with the help of our ICT department, and each individual department took initiative individually with the help of the other support and resource persons within the department and outside the department, to teach or to train our teachers, that how they can cope up with that particular issues related to technology. So they teach them that how to they can go for synchronous mode of delivery, asynchronous mode of delivery. What are the resources they should integrate in their pedagogical process, which can be aligned with the higher education institution. Because as you know that we, as a higher education institution representative and SZABIST as well, all the institutions which are under higher education commission, they have to follow the rules and regulations, and the framework is given by the higher education commission to align our goals and objectives with their goals and objectives towards the quality education. As you know that Sakhar IB University, if I talk about my institution, that we are working on the quality education. This is our agenda, and I would like to highlight our late Vice Chancellor Nisar Ahmed Siddiqui Saab. So he did a wonderful job for it, because in the start when the situation happened, he was always there to guiding us, to providing us all the ways forward, that how we can cope up with this challenge, and what strategies and resources. As a head of the institution, as a vice chancellor, he provide us each and everything. He opened door for us, that whatever resource, training, material, technology, gadget is required by the students and teachers, so he provide each and everything which was required. So I think that the head